What is going on, guys? I'm proud to let you know every time you come to my page, this is going to be the video you see. It's a tribute to my friend, Uche Nwaneri. We made so much content together. Uche was an incredible storyteller, but he was also an incredible football player, beloved father, husband, and a pillar in our community. Uche never lets you leave a conversation without an argument and a laugh. He was so passionate about everything, whether it was movies, gaming, football. He was infectious in how he projected his life. And I wish more people would have had an opportunity to experience it while he was still here. But I've sat here and I've looked at so many people on Twitter and on YouTube talk about the interactions they had with him, and I've learned that Uche was a guy that had time for everybody. He left a mark on so many people beyond just my channel. And that's what makes me smile the most. Right now, I'm hoping that Uche's channel can reach 100,000 subscribers this year. He's gotten over 10,000 just today, so that his family and his daughters can have a plaque from YouTube that shows how much we supported him. So with that, I want to start with a special story. Story of Uche meeting Ray Lewis for the first time on a football field. And I think this will set the tone for the type of storyteller he was.
This story is important for a few reasons, I think. In the timeline of my career as a football player, you get to play against these guys who you watched yourself on TV and idolized them as legends. And that's just something that is normal in American culture today. For me, I had the great honor and the great opportunity to play against guys that I've truly looked at as people who were larger than life when I was young. One of them being Derrick Brooks, linebacker, also a Hall of Famer, a guy who's considered one of the greatest at his position, the linebacker from Tampa Bay. Ray Lewis, obviously, guys like Junior Seau, Brett Favre. These were guys that I idolized. I mean, even more recent icons such as guys like Drew Brees, who actually went to my alma mater, Purdue University as well. So to be in the league with those kind of players at a time, even as a young guy in my second year at this point, it seemed like a dream. I'll be honest. It seemed like something that you would never think would happen in your wildest dreams. But here it is. It's a reality. But like the old saying goes, reality is much more harsh than the daydreams that we put out there in our minds. So we're going to start this story off with a couple of key facts that you need to know about the situation surrounding this encounter with Ray Lewis. And this is on the football field, of course. So it's my second year in the NFL. My first year as a starter, and it is the last game of the season. So needless to say, for a team that is right now 5-10 in Jacksonville, I am quite anxious to get this season over and done with so that I can start to rest, relax, allow my body to heal. When you have to go through a 17-week football season, 21 weeks if you add the preseason, the body is in pretty bad shape at this point. Joints are hanging on by a string. Aches are part of the everyday norm. As soon as I wake up in the morning, when you put your feet on the ground, your feet hurt, your back hurts, fingers hurt. Everything just feels raw and irritated all the time. Once you get past that, 10th, 11th week of football during the season, things just start to hurt for no reason. So this is our last game of the season, and we have no hopes of making the playoffs. We've been eliminated from contention for a few weeks now. And we're now in a situation where we have to go in and play a Sunday night game against a Baltimore Ravens team that must win. At the outset, this game was brutal. This was a brutal game. It was cold, a little bit windy. wasn't the worst, but it wasn't, it wasn't ideal for a Florida team. We kind of enjoy that warm 65, 70-degree winter weather. So, it's not, we're still wearing basketball shorts and flip-flops going into work in the morning. This game was a mess. This game was an utter mess for us. Pretty much the entire team was checked out. We were like, let's get this over with. Let's get the hell out of here. Playing for pride. Who cares? We don't even, we really did not care about whether or not we won or lost that game. And that's just how it is. If you're not playing for anything and it's the last week of the season, man, you wouldn't believe the kind of deals that can be made with an opposing player when it's two teams that have nothing to play for. But in this case, we had nothing to play for, and the Baltimore Ravens had everything to play for. Needless, we're in the middle of this game, and this was, to me, probably one of the biggest welcome to the NFL moments that I've ever had. We had a number of penalties. We were backed up at our 2-yard line, and we had a false start penalty on our left tackle and our tight end 4 plays in a row. We were on first. We were stuck on first and 10 at the foot-yard line for 4 plays before we got a ball or before we got a play off without getting called for a false start. That's how loud it was there. We couldn't hear anything. I am at left guard in my second year. I'm starting a left guard, and it's 4th and 1, and Jack Del Rio does the old signal, stay out there. He says, stay out there. 4th and 1, we're going for it. Immediately, Dave comes jogging into the huddle. Dave looks directly at me in my eyes and gives me this little grin like, all right, Ooch. Needless to say, I am terrified because I know what that little grin in that eye means. And in slow motion, I break the huddle and turn and walk towards the line of scrimmage. When I get in my stance, I look up, and who is right in front of me, 2 to 3 yards off the ball, staring me dead through my soul? Ray Lewis. And he is looking at me with some kind of malicious intent that I just, to this day, still cannot really grasp. Ray Lewis looks at me in my eyes and he points at me and he yells out, 77 is pulling. To which in my head, I say, son of a bitch. He yells out some kind of audible and the entire defense slides to our right. The entire defense slides to our right. Ray Lewis stays in his position and starts to slowly inch over as the cadence continues to go. Now, as we're going through the cadence, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, shit, they know what play we're running. Can we change the play? And the cadence, it's like it was yesterday. In slow motion, in my mind, the cadence is going. Dave is calling the cadence. Nobody cares that he just called out the play. Nobody cares that they're putting my life in direct danger at this point because he knows that I'm about to pull to the other side of the line and it's going to be a collision of monumental proportions. It is going to be a violent reckoning. He knows what's coming. His entire defense knows what's coming, and they're bringing the wood, all of them, because they have to win to get in. Dave calls the cadence, and we snap the ball. Now, at this point in my mind, and this is all happening in a matter of milliseconds in my mind, I'm like, look, they only called this play to test your manhood. Those coaches did not call this play thinking for 1 second that these Ravens were not going to be ready to stop it. They called it to see how you, a young second-year player, are going to react with the adversity that has been placed in front of you. You must block the Mike linebacker on 36 power. You are assigned to Ray Lewis. How are you going to handle that? So in my mind, I said, you know what? I'm just going to go for broke. I'm going to swing for the fucking fences. This is what I told myself to motivate myself. So that's what I did. I pulled with ferocity. I pull myself into the gap right off the double team, and I'm going full bore, pulling the hole. Ray Lewis right there. This Ray Lewis, he's running full bore downhill. And when we collide, I kid you not, this man took everything out of me. I thought I was paralyzed the way that we collided. And when we hit, I felt an electric static shock all the way out to my fingertips, all the way down to my toes. I didn't think it was possible. I'd been knocked on my ass a few times in my career, sure. As a young player, for sure I have. This guy went through my chest. And I literally I think I closed my eyes. Not only did he run through me, he ran through Maurice Jones-Drew, forced a fumble from Maurice Jones-Drew, and Mojo does not fumble a lot. He ran through me, ran through Mojo, forced a fumble, and recovered it. That was my first encounter with the great Ray Lewis.
Uche told me that story countless times, and I will tell you, the hit from Ray Lewis stayed the same every single time. One of the things I remember most about Uche was he lived these moments, and he respected the moment he was in. You know, so many times in life, I don't think we take time to pay attention to where we are, what we're doing, who we're with. But Uche never took a day, never took a moment for granted, and I think it's prevalent in his stories. The next story that I wanted to share originally was going to be the day that he got drafted. Plumbing broke upstairs. He's getting a call that his dreams are fulfilled. His family's life is going to be changed forever, and there's water leaking everywhere. But instead, I wanted to kind of do a story that was kind of special to me and Uche because there was a time we were using my channel to upload videos, not his own. And he told me that he wanted to tell stories about his time in the NFL. And I said, well, what's the most outlandish story you have? And he surmised this donut story. And I remember saying to him, Uche, are you sure? You're sure you want to tell this story? You want to name names? And he was. And what's so incredible about this story is not only did he tell this story, but a year later, he would actually have Jack Del Rio come on his channel to talk about the aftermath of what he would deem Donut Gate.
Now, just to give you a couple of examples of some of the kind of pranks that were going on. Early in the season, it was, defensive backs against receivers, running backs against linebackers. So you would see, like, for instance, Maurice Jones-Drew, his entire locker, the linebackers got all of the clothing drums that we had for our laundry after practice, and they stuffed his locker with them. And then they used athletic tape and covered his locker completely from top to bottom. So he couldn't get into his locker because the linebackers had taped it from top to bottom closed with a dirty laundry chute roller barrel in the locker. So another prank that was also a part of this early escalation was the running backs putting Tiger Balm in the linebackers' mouthpieces. So, as guys know, Tiger Balm is one of those icy hot type of muscle ointments that you use to get ready to warm up, to stretch, use it for pain relief. This was lined in all of their mouthpieces. So guys didn't realize that they had Tiger Balm until they were actually out at practice. And as they put on their helmet, put in their mouthpiece, they taste the Tiger Balm. So that became a big issue that just created more escalation. So then you had the DBs versus wide receivers. Guys are filling up shoes with powder. Guys are taking shoes and soaking them in sinks and then leaving them in the locker so that by the time we go to practice, when you put on your shoes, they're soggy. And, it's hot in Jacksonville. So obviously that's something that's going to bother receivers who have to run up and down the field all day long. And things really just got crazy. One that I witnessed personally, Daryl Smith, who played with us for a number of years and went on to play in Baltimore, was a great player in Baltimore for a number of years as well. Daryl Smith comes walking by. Nobody's really in the locker room at this time. He's walking by, he's looking around. The running backs are in their meetings. And everybody comes in, they see all that stuff on the table in the middle of the locker room, all these assortments of goodies laid out, and guys will grab one and then go into their meeting or go into the training room. And Daryl Smith grabbed 3 or 4 of the bagels on the platter on the table, and he starts licking them. He starts licking them. And I'm standing, I just walked in the locker room, and I'm like, locker room. And it's crazy because why am I walking in the locker room and seeing this? Come in the locker room. There's like multiple boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts. Nobody's really touched them yet. They must have just got there. Maybe, guys didn't have time to grab something. So I walk in. Who do I see? Here comes Clint Ingram. Here comes Daryl Smith. They come jogging over in from the bathroom, come jogging over. They start grabbing donuts. Clint starts licking donuts. Him and Daryl grab the other box of donuts and they walk into the bathroom with it. So I'm like, that's not good. I'm not eating a damn thing, period. I'm going to my meeting. So I walk into my meeting. We come out. We go through the rest of that day. There are whispers as we go out for our walkthrough. There are whispers that somebody put their pubes on the donuts. There are whispers that somebody may have used one of the donuts down in a spot that I guess there was a hole there, but that was the rumor. And we couldn't really get clarity on it. I mean, I asked Daryl myself, Buck, we call him Buck. I said, Buck, you stick your junk in the donut? And all he did was pack in a nice fat dip, look at me and just be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Not only were a ton of us, many of us starters, at a party on Friday night, but not only did one of our players get arrested that night because he was unconscious in his car at a yield sign, we go up to Cincinnati to a winless Cincinnati Bengals and we lose by 1 or 2 points in Cincinnati. Big John Henderson gets kicked out of that game because he gets in a fight with the center. It was just a whole shit show, total and complete shit show. So we come back, and on Sunday in the team meeting, there is an eerie silence amongst everybody in the team meeting room. There's no chatter going on. It's really like very low whispers. And then here comes Jack Del Rio, comes walking down to the front of the meeting room. He doesn't have any schedule thing in his hand like he usually does. His face is red. The team owner just walks in behind him and stands at the back. And we're sitting there like, oh, shit. This is about to get ugly. He hits the lights and turns on the screen that's built into the wall. This really nice plexiglass screen that's built into the wall. Has a projector in the wall that shoots out a high definition image, cutting edge at the time. And it's a PowerPoint. And it's a PowerPoint with the background of the main title page being the club that we all went to on Friday night. And it said in big letters on the title part, "Do we really want to win?" ? Jacksonville Jaguars are out in mass at First Friday party event. Many players seen and photographed. Second-year player Justin Durant arrested for DUI after being found in vehicle unconscious. And you can just see Jack's face getting redder and redder. He's pissed. And then he comes to the crescendo, to the very top of this. And then the next picture, the very last slide, is a slide of donuts. Donuts. And it says, "Men acting like boys." And Jack starts talking about how, I don't understand, men, how you can come in here as a professional. As a professional. You guys are running around doing pranks. Yeah, that's all good. We know that's how it is sometimes in the locker room. But when somebody sticks their dick in the donuts. Well, them just fighting words. I don't know about you, man, but I'm gonna fight somebody. They stick dicks in donuts that I eat. And you could just see the rage in his face. He was so pissed.
I don't even know what you say after a story like that, but I will say for so many people, one of the greatest gaming days they might have would have been standing in line, waiting for that copy of Madden, going home and getting those first few games in. But I can tell you, I had a little bit different experience with Madden over the course of my gaming, and so did Uche for that matter. And I remember so fondly, Uche would call me as soon as he got the game loaded up and say, "Ryan, I can't believe this game is just as bad as it's ever been." Sit there and tell me I was going to have the greatest year ever, and let me know he had a video on the way. Now, usually they were 10 or 15 minute expertise videos on how the offensive line just didn't work the way it should. But in 2022, Uche got a copy of Madden that set him into a tangent like no other when the game seemingly completely broke on him, took a win away from him, and led to some of the most hilarious reactions you'll ever see from anyone playing a game. He sent me the footage, I put it up on my channel, and we talked about how this game maybe doesn't treat its users the best, and how experiences like this probably cause a lot of controllers to hit the ground. Uche was so mad, literally, during this game. I couldn't believe it. And the phone calls before and after when he would play these games on release were absolute classics, to the point I wish I could have recorded them just to play them back. I actually got to look forward more to talking to Uche about the game releasing than I did the game itself, and this was at a time I knew my channel was going to get pretty significant numbers, but Uche always made it that much more fun to have somebody going back and forth with that could literally talk about football to the highest level, but then also get just as animated as any gamer ever could.
Wow!
Take a look at what happens with his adventure into Madland. Guys, this is Devontae Adams getting intercepted here. And when you watch it, he went to the replay. Number 7 actually turns in a complete circle and then goes out, makes up all this ground, and actually intercepts this pass. Understand, EA is creating a fake amusement park while their game plays like this for an actual NFL player. Now, the end, this is a fumble that ends the game. How is that even a fumble? It literally looked like the player lateraled it to the defender. Look at his face. I mean, does that not look like Maddenland? That is really the Maddenland I'm used to seeing people embrace in this community. It really is beyond tone deaf at this point for this company to continue to almost mock us with how horrible of a game they have. So, Uche had an infectious smile, an incredible laugh, and obviously loved to share his passion for football. And up until now, I've let you hear a little bit about Uche telling the story, but I want to tell one about Uche that me and him had together. And I'm going to be honest, editing this together, recording all this audio, it's not been easy. And I can't help but think that he is up there laughing at me, not being able to keep it together to just make a video about my friend. But he called me one day and he said, "Ryan, had a co-host not come through. What are you doing for the next 15, 20 minutes? Do you think you could hop on and do a podcast with me?" I had no idea what we were going to talk about. This was a call out of the blue on a Thursday morning. And I was like, well, I guess. I mean, I really don't have anything else planned. Go ahead and send me a link and we'll get everything taken care of. This man cites me as the king of Madden breakdowns. And afterwards, I say to him when the video is up, I said, Uche, why? Why would you say I'm the king of Madden breakdowns? There's so many other channels. And he says to me, Ryan, you're the king of breakdowns. You're the only one that breaks down videos the way that you do. And that was the way that I saw you and the way I'm going to show you. But more important than that, this podcast went for 3.5 hours. The crazy thing is, this was just how Uche talked with everybody. Yeah, we had great communication because at that time, I had a podcast, both talking about subjects that we loved, but nothing will ever stand out to me more than looking at the end of that recording and saying to him, what are you going to do with this 3.5 hour show? How in the world are you going to edit this? And he chuckled at me and was like, what are you talking about? Edit it. I'm putting it up the way it is. Because he knew going back and listening to that would be incredibly difficult to chop up, edit, and put together. And he didn't care. All he cared about was how he felt in the moment. That's why I said, you didn't leave a conversation without an argument and a laugh every single time. Every single time. Yeah, we didn't agree on everything. Yeah, he had really strong beliefs. But at the end of the day, I knew he cared about this community. I know he cared about me. And I hope he knows I cared about him. I'm going to put a link down to his channel in the description. And I'm going to ask if you happen to go over there and it's not at 100,000 subscribers to take a second out of your day to recognize that this man's life and make sure that he gets a plaque with his name on it for his family.